This week on London Real, we have Matthew Pritchard, professional skateboarder, daredevil, and founder of Dirty Sanchez.
Anything which is stupid and way beyond what anyone else would do appeals to me. The Sanchez rule was, if you came up with it, you had to do it. Stick drumsticks up our asses. She started sucking my knob off on stage, and of course this was all filmed, and we literally got banned from 5 of the clubs. Basically, it was a rock star life, yeah, but we didn't play an instrument. Fucking shoveling more and more drugs into my system. Just look like Ozzy Osbourne. And then I got into Ironman triathlons. When I get into something, I have to go, whoa.
London Real presents Matthew Pritchard, Dirty Sanchez.
Everyone's too fucking goody-goody.
I am here in fabulous Green Park in central London. Behind me, over my shoulder, is Buckingham Palace, where the Queen lives. But this week on the show, we have a different kind of Briton, not from the royal family, but from Wales, and that is none other than Matthew Pritchard. You might have known him from the early days as part of Dirty Sanchez. And these were the guys that you would have probably first seen on MTV over here in Britain, that were known as skateboarders that then went the extra distance to pranks, stunts, and absolute madness. And some guys compare these gentlemen to the folks in America known as Jackass and Johnny Knoxville, but anyone in the know realizes that these guys are cut from a different cloth. They take things to the next level and then beyond. And once you listen to Matthew Pritchard here, you'll understand why, because Matthew is a very unique guy, one that I quite like a lot, one that I don't know if I'll ever understand fully, but he's a guy that is born to do extreme things. And when you start cutting through the surface of some of the things he does on stage, you start really understanding that he does a lot of crazy things, including some extreme endurance feats that are quite hard for me even to imagine. Swimming across rivers, walking the entire distance of Britain from end to end, and there's more and more. And so this guy is extreme in many different ways, and I think we can learn a lot from these types of people. Not to mention his whole resume as part of Dirty Sanchez, the ride he went up. He was literally rock star status here in Britain at the time. And so it was great to sit down with him. I believe he's the second most prominent or only Welshman we've had, second to Howard Marks, who we were really proud to have on the show, and someone that he knows very well. And our thoughts go out with Howard at this time in his life. And so thank you so much for Matthew coming on and giving it to us straight. There's some points in where he says some things that I don't think have ever been said on this show. And so it was fantastic to have him on, and I think you're really gonna enjoy this show. So there you go, there you go. As I walk through Green Park, I just looking at all this grass, and it makes me think of the grass-fed butter I consume every day, and that goes with the Bulletproof coffee that I consume. And if you're not familiar with Bulletproof, they're a company that does things a little bit different. They look at some of the best things we can put into our body and how we can get the most out of them. You can call that biohacking, you can call that reducing toxins in your system, but they're just a fantastic company with a fantastic idea. Dave Asprey is the founder, and he's just written his Bulletproof Diet book, which is kind of his journey from being massively overweight and reacting to all sorts of toxins in the world to becoming kind of the man he is now. And it's his whole journey through this diet, and it's something that I highly recommend. We're also going to be having blog posts regularly now from them, including ones about how he came across writing this book and his journey. So please check that out. I think you can click below here to go to our blog and find some links and more things about that. And of course, here's a link here to go grab a copy of the book. I'm a big fan. I have copies of it over at London Real, and I give them out to my guests. So there you go. I want to give a big thanks out to those guys. And finally, the reason that I'm here is because this hotel behind me is known as the Ritz in London. And this is the place that Mr. Dan Pena, the $50 billion man, always stays, and it's where I meet him when we have our mentor conferences. If you don't know who Dan is, go check out some of my earlier episodes. He's been a 2-time guest of London Real, and he's the most asked about guest we've ever had. And We are offering a special one-day event on March 28th, and I'm going to give you some information about it right now. I am here outside of the Ritz Hotel in London, and this is going to be the scene of an amazing day coming up on March 28th, where we bring you our very first live event ever at London Real. It's something I'm really excited about, and to be honest, a little nervous too. People have been asking me to do an event, and it hasn't felt to be the right time or the right occasion, but now we have one occasion. In fact, we have 50 billion occasions. That's because this will be an event with Dan Pena, two-time guest on London Real, AKA the $50 billion man. He is the most asked about guest ever on London Real, and he's my mentor. You might remember I went to his castle in Scotland in November to be trained by him, and I was very skeptical at first, and now I've become a big fan of Mr. Pena, and I decided that I wanted to bring you what I'm calling an intimate day with Dan Pena, because a lot of you only have the option of going up to the castle for his castle seminar, and there's no other way of consuming Dan except for on our shows. And as I've told many people before, Dan Pena is a 3D experience. Trust me on this. When I went to the castle, I found this out. He is a man that must be felt. You must feel his energy to get it. I find that he comes off very two-dimensional in any other form of media. And so we are bringing you this. This is a very limited opportunity. We are keeping this to only 30 people, and you must apply. You must tell us why you should be in the room. I'd like to hear about your business accomplishments, your personal accomplishments, and Dan and I will be going through these applications, and we will choose 30. I do believe this event will sell out in the matter of hours, because there's no other way to spend this much time with Dan. And as he told me, he hasn't done an event like this century. Think about that for a while. He just doesn't do these one-day events anymore. So it's going to be an exciting time. It's going to be highly personal, and you're going to be literally within spitting distance of Dan. And we're going to even tailor the content to the audience. So it's going to be something we're going to work very hard of, and I'm very serious about this first live event. I'm taking it very seriously. So let me cut now to a minute from the man himself, coming to us live from Los Angeles, well, kind of live, where he is busy pitching his reality show to all of the LA producers. He's busy doing lunch and giving air kisses, and here's Dan.
Okay, London Reelers. Hi, I'm here in Beverly Hills, getting ready to go out on an appointment, a showbiz appointment, but I promised Brian QLA Rose that I'd do a shout out to you, reference our big upcoming event, a London Real event on the 28th of March at the Ritz Hotel. It's going to have limited guests, 30, and even a more limited special dinner for 10. Brian will be announcing it this coming Sunday, I believe, and we expect it to be sold out quickly, so you have to react. We're going to ask you to justify why you should be invited, and Brian and I will go over the invitations and your responses to see who we're going to pick of the 30, and then who will be able to join us for the 10. Look forward to seeing you. This is the first event, the first live event I've done, I believe, this century. I haven't done it, notwithstanding Brian said 20 years, but I think it's been at least 15 years. Thanks a lot. To your quantum leap. Peace.
And there you go. Those are the details. March 28th. You can click on this link to apply and either get on our mailing list for the announcement or go straight to the form. Like I said, we want to know why you should be at that event and a little bit about yourself so we can make that decision. We want this to be such an important and impressive group that the group alone, even without Dan, is going to be worth your time that day. So very excited about this. We're also having a 10-person, very exclusive dinner afterwards with myself and Dan. I'll be talking a lot during the day, and then of course there'll be lots of Dan and me as well. So super excited about this. Please get in on this. I don't know if we're even going to get a chance to do this ever again with Dan. It might be the last time he does this. I just don't know. So super excited and looking forward to finding out your application. Please Click on the link, let me know who you are. Leave me some comments down below if you have any questions. And there you go. I look forward to seeing you March 28th right here at the Ritz in London. This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Matthew Pritchard, who is a professional skateboarder, daredevil, and founder of Dirty Sanchez, which is a group of 4 British guys known for extreme pranks and dangerous stunts, whose shows were featured on MTV and Channel 4. In 2008, you filmed Sanchez Get High, where you toured the world looking for ultimate highs, including naked skydiving, painful tattoos, and ceremonies with ayahuasca and psilocybin mushrooms, something we talked a few times about on the show. We're going to get to that. You now own and operate the Sleep When You're Dead tattoo and barbershop in Cardiff. It looks very cool. 3 stories, right? I want to ask you a few things about that. Cool. You've competed in multiple Gumball 3000 races. You're our second Welshman on the show after Howard Marks. Matthew, welcome to London Real.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here.
Excited to be here.
Cool. I'm glad you're here. I think I emailed you before that Tony Hawk had actually gone to my high school, which is Torrey Pines High School.
Yeah, that was quite interesting.
Yeah, right. It was a couple years before I graduated, but this is also way back when skateboarding wasn't cool, skateboarding wasn't accepted, and it was just it was just kind of there. But
well, it was the same. It was the same for us when growing up for me. Skateboarding wasn't. Now everyone's like skateboarding. It seems normal. But when I was growing up, Christ, the amount of times I got beaten up and everything. So I was a skateboarder because I was different to everybody else. And I don't know, it was just different back then. But now it's just more acceptable.
What did they think of skateboarders in Cardiff back then? Were they thinking that you're just a pest or you're a loser, or they didn't even understand what you were doing? Was there they didn't believe it was an art or a sport or what?
Well, to them we were just a nuisance. Because we didn't have any skate parks, we didn't have anything, so we used to just street skate. And I mean, looking back, we're street skating on their property and maybe chipping a few blocks and stuff. But hey, oh man, you can just replace that. It didn't look awful or anything. Right. And the police used to come. We used to go to a place called Southgate House, and that's where everyone in South Wales used to meet up. And we'd all go skating there, and that's where most of my friends, which I've got today, that's where I met them, at Southgate House. And then the police would turn up in the big vans, and we'd be like, yeah. Because we were young, we'd have to do a runner and skate away from them. We'd go 5-0 or police or something, and we just do a runner. But not just that, it wasn't just the police and the security guards. And right. I've had numerous fights with security guards over the years just because we were skating on the land and they got heavy-handed, hitting you and stuff. And we were only young, like, say, late teenagers, early 20s.
Yeah, it's almost just a power struggle, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it was fight the power when we were younger. But then now, slowly but surely, it started becoming, you got the X Games, you got all that kind of stuff, and then it became accepted. And it's just not as bad these days. But plus, there's more money in the sport. There's more skate parks. There's more events. The kids who are coming into it these days, they've got more. They got more skate parks. The skate parks dotted all over the country these days. Right.
Plus, I think Tony wrote the book called Occupation Skater or Skateboarder. I mean, like now it's considered like a professional sport, and back then it wasn't considered anything, right?
I mean, there was professional skateboarders, but obviously they weren't earning nowhere near as much as what they're doing nowadays. Right. And when it got to the point when I turned professional, I earned a decent living. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't nothing to write home about, but at the time I was working in a factory. Any excuse to get out of there was perfect. So. Right.
I remember back in 2000, I was in New York City and I was working for one of the .com startups, and we had one of these T1 like high-speed internet lines. And I don't know if people remember back then, but there was Napster. And I remember downloading for the very first time something called CKY, which was Can't Kill Yourself, which was
Bam Margera.
The Bam Margera movies. And like, I don't know if people remember, but this is before Jackass, and this is like 2000. And these guys used to make like these hour and a half like films of skating, pranks. They would play music, and it was like, and you couldn't find it anywhere. It was not made for television or anything. It was just guys kind of having a good time. And there was like something pure about it because they were like making it for their other skater buddies, right?
Yeah, they were providing videos just for the skate scene. Right. And I think it was because around that time, that's when Big Brother magazine were producing stuff like shit, and me and Dayton were doing stuff like Pritchard versus Dayton. Right. And I think it was just at that time, this is what skateboarders were like. We'd go out and we'd play pranks. We were all young as well, so we were in that kind of age group to do that kind of stuff.
And you guys have cameras with you, video cameras.
We had video cameras, they had video cameras, and I think it was like the start of, we all had video cameras, so let's film what we're doing and let's film the wind-ups. I mean, firstly for us, we just captured what we were doing, and we were known in the industry, well, me and Dayton especially, for going to like trade shows and stuff and messing around. We were the guys who fucked shit up and at the after parties and stuff. We caught it all on film, and then eventually we thought, why not make a video of it?
And this was what year when you guys started playing with the video?
1998.
Okay, so that's early days.
That we started.
Okay.
And I think by the time it got out, it was but there was a massive hype. Like, we were hyping it. And then it came out in about 2000.
Okay. And was Camp Kill Yourself around that same time? Like
yeah,
late
it was
90s?
all around the same time. They were just before us.
Okay.
And then, we just came out just before Jackass happened.
Okay. So you put...
Hence why a lot of people at the time said, oh, you're copying Jackass. But we literally just came out before Jackass. We didn't even know what was going on.
Right.
But then Jackass came out, and obviously our video came out, which was handy. Because I think MTV were looking for the same kind of program for the British market.
Right, and
obviously a talent scout noticed our Pritchard video. We had a meeting with her, and she organised a meeting with MTV.
Now there's no YouTube back then, so how can they find your videos? Is it just bootleg tapes being passed around?
We did some interviews with magazines and stuff.
Okay.
Plus we did a 10-minute little documentary on a show called Passengers on Channel 4.
Okay.
And they followed us, the four of us, me, Dayton, Joycey, Pancho, and that went out on Channel 4. So obviously people did know about it through the magazines and through Passengers, and this woman must have, she got my contact for the company I was working at the time, Glow Shoes. And she phoned me up and she said, oh, this is Martha Delap. I even remember her name. It's Martha Delap, we're interested in you coming for a meeting on MTV. And I thought, this is somebody winding me up here.
But you were a professional skateboarder at this point, so
I was, yeah. But I phoned Dane, told him the same thing. He thought I was winding him up, that kind of. And then in the end, we just went to MTV, had the meeting, and that was it.
And away it went.
But then they didn't want us to have our own show. They wanted us to be, me and Dayton, to be like the Ant and Dec, to find Britain's craziest people.
Okay.
And we just said, well, here we are.
We're the crazy people.
Yeah,
right.
We're the crazy people. And then another meeting, and so they agreed to follow us in our lives. And
what do you make of that whole Jackass phenomenon? Like how it blew up in the States, and I don't even know where that came from, but it was a huge show, and they did 4 or 5 seasons, and obviously Johnny Knoxville went big, and then Bam kind of was pulled into the fray, even though Bam was doing it way before that, and so then it kind of morphed into, I guess, what it is today, where they make the movies. Like, what do you make of that whole thing?
I don't know, it was weird, because I remember because Big Brother magazine came out, and they sort of found that guy called Johnny Knoxville.
Right, who wasn't a skater.
He wasn't a skater.
Right.
He was just some normal, crazy fucking dude.
Right.
And they sort of found him, and he was just more or less up for doing anything fucking crazy. And then they put it on one of the Big Brother videos. I don't know which one it was, but I was like, whoa, man. But then back then, that was fucking nuts. Like these days, anyone's done anything, what with YouTube. But back then, it was bonkers. And it just escalated from there, I think. You have Bam doing his Camp Kill Yourself. You had Johnny Knoxville doing that with Big Brother magazine. And then they all just sort of joined forces and made this collective thing, which was Jackass. Right,
because Johnny Knoxville, I think, got famous for Big Brother because I think technically he shot himself in the chest with a gun with a bulletproof vest on, and then he sprayed himself with tear gas, and then he shocked himself with a taser. I think these were 3 short videos that he made for Big Brother before Jackass happened. And then that happened, and then he kind of seemed like he joined forces with Bam. But there was all these different personalities. It was like Steve-O was the circus guy, Johnny was the main guy, but he wasn't the craziest guy. And then Bam was like the skater guy. But then you guys took it to a whole another level of craziness, because I think you guys truly were crazier than these guys.
I mean, that wasn't our intention. I think It's weird, really, how that happened, because we weren't normally like that. But then as soon as we got the TV show and we were living in each other's pockets, it went from, we were messing with one another, blah, 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 like you do, and then it just, oof, you know what it's like.
Go bigger
you do
and
bigger, bigger, and it just got fucking out of control. And it was like, whoa, what the fuck have we started here? It was like, 1 minute we were just fucking putting shaving cream on Pancho's head, and then it was shitting on each other.
What
the fuck?
When did it make that change from being like, okay, normal-ish, until like over?
Well, I think as soon as MTV got involved, and I think in all of our heads we needed to up the tempo, because if this was going to go out, then we're going to have to make it worth watching.
Okay, up your own tempo, or were you competing with Jackass?
No, never competed with Jackass at all.
Okay.
You know, they did their thing, we did our thing.
And they were on for a year or two before you came on?
Maybe a year, I think.
Okay, and you came on in 03, roughly, in MTV UK?
02, I think.
02, okay, all right, okay.
But we were filming because it took about 10 months to film the first program. There's so many problems.
And when
we do this, somebody complain, and then the bosses be like, "Oh, we got the show almost got pulled so many times."
Okay, because of
we almost didn't fucking make it because of this. They wanted us to be crazy, but then we weren't allowed to be crazy. So it's like we're just fighting a losing battle. So.
And when did it get too crazy? When were you like, wait a second? Because you said that you guys were doing crazy stuff at the conventions and when you were doing videos. That was medium crazy. When did it get to be?
That was before. Before Dirty Sanchez.
Okay, and then when
it got fucking crazy.
So the first season of Dirty Sanchez was medium crazy, and then it went.
No. I'd say before Sanchez happened, me and Dave used to fucking go mental. We'd smash up fucking clubs and stuff. I'm not proud of it. Okay. But we were young and we were stupid and naive, and
so
we just thought it was funny. And then as soon as the Sanchez stuff happened, it was almost like the four of us got involved then, and we were more or less fucking one another over.
Oh yeah, beating each other up more than just tearing places up.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you say
giving each other punishment.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you're saying tearing up clubs. I mean, were you always doing it in like a crazy were you always just doing the crazy stuff?
You know what it's like when you're younger. You just all this testosterone. You're it's just a few drinks and you can't handle it, and it's smashing stuff up and thinking it's funny.
Right.
It's not really.
Right.
Shit, isn't it? When you look back at it, it's like, Jesus, man, some of the stuff I've done, like, apologise to everyone if I smashed their club up or whatever, but, at the time we thought it was cool, but as you get older, you realise it's
that's
a bit
cool.
lame, really. But
and when did you notice it really changing, like Dirty Sanchez, where you're like, wow, we're really going to the next level, when you're starting, like you said, shaving cream to shitting on each other? Like, is that like second season when you're like, wait a second?
No, it was the first season, because it sort of escalated. You start, as soon as you start, well, the first, because they phoned me at Globe and said, blah, 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 blah. And then they said, can you go and find us a house where we can call base and everyone lives together, blah, blah, blah. So I found the house, and then as soon as we moved in, Joyce, she was like, with his laugh. He shit in his hand outside and just chucked the shit in the air and literally went all over the next door neighbour's clothes on the garden and stuff. Man, it's like,
that was the opening move.
That's the start before we even move into the house. This guy next door was going mental. And then we move in, and of course you get the money was in that bank account. It was just the start of this crazy roller coaster, which now I look back and think, it was bonkers.
When were you the most popular on TV then?
The first series, yeah.
First series, like, so 03,
yeah,
04.
Because it was like, I think it hit the screens like, whoa, what the fuck are these guys?
Right, and the British probably maybe the British hadn't seen Jackass. Maybe they have, but...
Yeah, no, they did.
They had, okay.
Yeah, they did.
But you guys were really different. I know you said you were never looking at them. You were just doing your own thing. I mean, you guys were just, like, kind of taking things to a different level.
Yeah, I mean... You know what the Brits are like. We always like to outdo the Yanks. But our intention wasn't to outdo the Yanks, but we were just doing our thing, and to all the people watching, we're like, oh yeah, these guys are more crazy than fucking Jackass. And I couldn't, if I gave you £1 for the amount of times somebody's told me that over the years, Christ, I'd be a fucking millionaire. But
are you tired of hearing that?
No, I'm not tired of hearing it. It's just the way it is, isn't it?
Right.
I mean, I never want to outdo anyone. I'm quite happy doing my own stuff.
Right.
Along with the rest of the boys.
And then what was happening? You were getting more money, you were getting more fame. Was it starting to get a little crazy? Like, is it kind of like rock star-ish?
It was a rock star life, yeah, but we didn't play an instrument.
Right, okay.
We lived the life.
Okay.
I mean, you read the books, Motley Crue and this and the drugs and the fucking booze and the girls, and it was, yeah, it was like that.
It was like that.
I'm not moaning, man. It was fucking great. It was brilliant. Rock and roll access right there. We'd done some fucking stupid things, but
right, and everyone wanted to hang out with you too because you guys were kind of different.
Yeah, and being a skateboarder for years and not being accepted by society and clubs and pubs and stuff. Oh, get out my club, skateboarders. So all of a sudden becoming everyone. Oh yeah, come to my club, drink all my beer. Fucking yeah, cool, man. So they didn't like us 1 minute, and then all of a sudden, because we got this fame, we were on TV, blah, 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 everyone wanted a piece of the cake. And being a party monster myself, I didn't say no.
Right.
So I just lapped everything up.
And how did you top like one show and then the next show? Would you guys sit around and say, okay, we're going to do this? Or would you just get together and each person would just take it to another level?
Well, MTV had their kind of, they'd have their researchers and stuff sitting down, coming up with various stunts and stuff, which some of them are good, some of them are bad. But I think the best ones were when the four of us would just sit together and we'd just randomly come up with something. Oh, that'd be fun. So it's like the best stuff was the spontaneity.
Okay.
Those kind of things. But then the Sanchez rule was, if you came up with it, you had to do it.
Okay.
So no matter what you fucking said, you had to do it. Joycey said, I'm going to stick my balls in a pool pocket, and then after hit the ball into his balls.
Did that make it to TV?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it was pretty hardcore.
It was pretty bad. Was there any point where you were like, we've gone too far?
Not really. But I did end up we did play a game of Trivial Pursuit, and I had to try whoever came last. Of course, I'm not the cleverest person in the book. I came last, and I had to have a drill bit drilled right through there.
Through the piece of skin in your hand.
Yeah, screaming. But it was that graphic they couldn't put on TV.
So you did all that, and it didn't make it to TV.
No, and then I got home from London, fell asleep, woke up in agony, looked at my hand, it was just like a fucking tennis ball, and I'm like, ah, shit. Did a rusty drill and went to the hospital. Doctor said, how'd you do that? And
that never made it to screen?
No, it didn't make it to screen. The doctor said, how'd you do it? And I said, I lost a Trivial Pursuit and I had a drill through my hand. She's like, no, I'll tell the truth. And I was like, no, that's what happened. And he just looked at me daft and then put me in a bed, and I was in hospital for 8 days.
Is it weird that when like your job on that show is to take things to the next extreme, especially with all those guys in the house, and then when you go out to a club and people meet you and they're like, oh, Matthew, oh yeah, you're that guy, why don't you do some crazy shit? Is like does that start messing with your head for a while? Because you're like, I'm the crazy guy and now you want me to be the crazy guy?
I can't tell you the amount of times that happened. Literally, as soon as you went out the door, that was it. You were public enemy. Everyone, oh, do this, do that. It was almost from just being a normal dude and then having a successful TV show on MTV. Going out was, I mean, if I go out with my mates to have a good night, but really I didn't really spend the night with my mates, and I did their head in a bit.
Because you were
we were just
performing.
Yeah, the public just wanted us to be mental.
Right.
All the time. Slap me in the face, punch me in the face. No, why would I want to fucking do that?
But you did it, but you would do it.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
No, because if I did do that, then they could sue me or whatever.
Okay, right.
I never trusted anyone. I mean, don't get me wrong, if I had a few drinks, I'd start performing or start acting the idiot. But then that's it, really.
Right. It's like comedians, when they go out, people are like, oh, say something funny. And the comedian's like, This is my job.
Yeah, I'm not working.
Yeah, I'm not working. And if I do a stand-up routine for 40 minutes. I'm not here to give you one-line jokes, And so I'm just wondering if that stuff ever happened to you.
No, it was the same.
Right.
Exactly the same.
Right.
Chop your finger off, do this. Oh, I'm fucking in the club having a drink with my mates. I don't want to chop my finger off.
Right. Have you chopped your finger off?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Which finger is it?
No, it's all healed up. Oops, sorry, it's all healed up now. It's the end of this one. It was part of the show, the Japanese show, I think, when we I can't remember.
And was that on a whim? Were you just like, I'm going to chop it off now?
No, it was part of the Yakuza. I had to regain my pride. Oh. I think it was the film. I had to regain my pride to go into Japan to regain my pride. And the Yakuza normally chop the fingers off.
Right.
So I had to do that, but I did it with a cigar cutter. And then Joyce had the skin.
And then it was the end.
It was just the end. It's all healed now.
Did it hurt?
No.
It made it in the film.
Yeah, it made it in the film.
And then
then they had the medic.
Right there.
And I knew he had morphine. So I was like, this is really hurting me. I need morphine. He's so right with me. So I didn't get any morphine.
He didn't give you any morphine?
No.
Japanese are a little touchy about that.
Well, no, it wasn't Japanese. He was a British guy.
Oh, okay.
So
you knew you were going to do it that day, and the cameras are rolling, and you're like, all right, it's time to do this. So you just chop. Did you know how much you were going to do? I mean, like, because if you go too far...
Well, I did want to do
get the bone.
The whole tip.
Oh, okay.
From the joint.
Okay.
But then MTV, health and safety, no, can't do that. Not insured for that kind of shit. So.
In retrospect, do you wish you had? I mean, do you think you'd miss it, or?
Yeah, no, wouldn't give a shit. It's only your little finger. At least there was a story. Oh, fucking hell, dude, where's your fucking finger gone? Well, I had it cut off by the Yakuza.
I had Brad Burton in here last night, the Tony Robbins of the North, the motivational speaker, and he's like, yeah, Matthew cut his finger off, ask him about it. And I was like, okay, maybe I will. So, people know you for it. So.
Yeah.
Did you meet any Yakuzas without their finger?
We actually went to Joyce. He had a tattoo by one of the tattoos, the tattoo of the Yakuza.
Okay.
And the Yakuza got to find out we were there, and they actually went on a manhunt to try and find us. And we got warned, the director and the producer got warnings, get out of Japan now before we find you, or you're all fucked. So I was like, whoa.
Because you're making fun of them in a way?
Yeah, we weren't making fun of them.
They don't mess around.
They didn't want us to...
Or did they want to cut?
Yeah,
they
just didn't want us to...
Be there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then literally it was like, oh, fucking, we were shitting ourselves. I want to fuck with the Yakuza. So we got out with it pretty sharpish.
The Yakuza don't fuck around. It's the weirdest thing in Japan, because if you go to Japan, it's like the most almost like laced up, the most correct society ever. Everybody dresses alike. Everybody looks like, everyone seems like they're obeying the laws. And then you got this underworld of Yakuzas that like tattooed up, don't give a fuck, and they're like running all this shit. And you can't really see them in normal day life, but they're running shit. I mean, they're running major corporations, and they're running media channels. And
well, Japan's a very respectful country. I've never been anywhere where everyone's like really respectful for everyone. Yeah. Hello, likes to see one another. You don't get that here.
No,
fuck.
I like
everyone
them.
Hates each other here.
Yeah, I like them, and I can always tell.
Yeah, I like it as well.
Yeah. And I can always tell Japanese tourists. Like a lot of people will be like, "Oh, those are Japanese." I'm like, "Those are Chinese." Look at them, and I mean, like, I'm nothing against Chinese people, but Japanese people are ultra respectful. It's just like, okay.
And I think
it's nice.
You can't fault that,
Yeah, great food as well.
I just had sushi earlier.
There you go. Just
lovely.
Just don't cut your pinky out. So all right. So Dirty Sanchez with MTV was like a few years, and then you guys branched out into films. How was the relationship with MTV? Did it it was great, it was mainstream, and then did it just quiet down after a while, and was it time to go do your own thing?
Well, after doing
Dirty Sanchez with MTV.
Yeah, I mean, we probably did 3 series of Sanchez. The first one then was Jobs to the Boyos, which didn't really enjoy that one as much. And then we did European Invasion, where we travelled around Europe.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That was fun,
It was more or less back to the roots of what we were all about. Which
is what, kind of doing things spontaneously on location?
Yeah, rather than having like jobs for the boys. We had to go and do these jobs. It wasn't us.
Was the European tour more pranks, or was it still more?
Well, the four of us were stuck on a coach for 5 weeks.
Okay.
And just traveling Europe, going to various destinations, doing various stupid things.
That's good for creativity, right?
Yeah, I mean, but living in when that coach pulled up outside my house, I was like, yeah, man, a rock and roll coach. I've always wanted to go on one of them and just fucking live the rock and roll life. And it's all good for 2 days, and then you go, oh fuck. But then
sleeping in the bus.
It's character building, man.
Right.
You get in each other's tits. You're living with each other, and then mainly me, I'd be at the back of the thing, wouldn't stop partying, music blasting there, trying to sleep, arguments happen, blah, 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 blah. Everyone's biting each other's heads off.
Right.
But then I suppose that's the whole joys of travelling in a tour bus.
Did you ever party too much? Did you ever get to where your heart stopped or something crazy that?
Yeah, I did take it a bit too far. Well, what I think is a bit too far. I mean, just looking back, it was pretty hardcore. It just money in the bank and just drug taking was.
And youth money in the bank, and money, and celebrity, and
women left, right, and centre, and just drugs everywhere. And it was just, don't get me wrong, I'm not moaning. I fucking loved it. It was brilliant. But I think the worst point for me when I just sat there and I had loads of pills, loads of ecstasies. 1, 2, 3. I did about 33 pills in one night.
33 pills, wow.
33 pills,
all ecstasy.
And booze, all ecstasy,
33.
and lines of cocaine and everything. I was in a fucking right state. And then, I don't know why, I thought it was a good idea to go and watch Wales versus New Zealand at rugby at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff, in that mess.
Okay.
So, of course, I think I was more of an entertainment to everyone sitting around me than the rugby was.
Okay.
Because I can remember everyone looking at me going, fuck, what's happening there, mate? Look at the fucking stadium. I'm like...
So you're really out of it?
Oh, I was gone. I was gone, but I could see what was happening.
Oh, you did? Okay. So you remember?
Yeah, and then got back home and just went to bed. But, 33 pills, that's fucking stupid, man. It could have killed me. But
was this 06, 07 when kind of the big rise there?
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Okay.
But, I say about 04, about 4, 05.
Right. And you were telling me earlier about 3-day parties and hanging out with Howard Marks, and this was kind of standard. I mean, this is Motley Crue stuff. People don't do this anymore, right?
No, they don't know.
They don't.
I mean,
it's like an 80s, 90s rock band thing.
Everyone's too fucking goody-goody these days.
Right, Twitter.
Fuck. It just...
I don't see that. I mean, that's not your problem, is it?
No, I mean, if you're young, go and enjoy yourself. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not promoting drugs in any shape or form. That's just what I did, and, I had a good time. I had some bad times. You've got to accept, you've got to take the rough with the smooth, because drugs are not, you can't abuse them. They're there to be enjoyed, so.
Right.
It's up to you.
Do you think you pay for it? I mean, do you think it's kind of a zero-sum game, as they say, like with drugs? Like, you can take them and have the craziest, awesome time, but do you think you just end up paying for it the next day or sometimes the next year, in bad behaviors or long-term addictions or something?
I never got addicted.
Okay.
But I did have a good time on them. And because I was so young, didn't really understand come downs and stuff, so I just got on with it, and I didn't really had time to have come downs. So as soon as I come down, it was the next one, blah, blah, blah. It was from club to club, party to party. But then slowly but surely, you start growing older, and other things become more important.
Right. How old are you now?
I'm 42.
Okay, all right. So you were kind of like early 30s back then. Well, yeah, early 30s.
Yeah, it's early 30s. So
if
that was the height of my
Okay.
my party, and because don't get me wrong, because I was a professional skateboarder when I was late teens, early 20s, I didn't drink.
Okay.
But then when I turned professional, sponsored, and I was traveling a bit, obviously I got to meet a few more people and stuff, and I started drinking and I found girls and stuff. So I was a late starter, hence why I didn't start doing drugs till I was about 26.
Okay.
I remember I was in Newquay, I did one of my first pills.
Okay. I like Nuki. Oh, that was a big one. The first one everyone always remembers.
Man, that was the fucking good. I sat on the beach, and God knows what I fucking said to this girl, but Christ almighty, it was fucking good fun. Oh, shit.
Can you be a professional skater and drink and party, do you think?
Yeah, I did at the time, yeah.
Okay,
But
so it's doable.
Yeah. When you're young, you can do that, but when you're older,
Right.
it takes a bit more.
Okay, so MTV was like a few years, the TV show, it started to, the boom was there, did it start to slow down, and you guys were like, all right, it's time to do these movies and take it on the road, and I know in 2008 you went around the world for this
The show come out, and then it just got massive, and I didn't really expect it at all.
It was big, right?
Yeah, I just thought I was going to do.
Because MTV was huge then in the UK. I mean, people don't remember, but like around then, MTV was like, it was the Vice of the day, right? I mean, it was the coolest thing people were watching. You guys were probably you guys were easily the most outlandish show, and it was a super popular show on that channel. So, and there's no YouTube back then, so people were watching that, right?
Yeah, it was. I forgot what I was going to say.
Yeah, no. Oh, what happened with the relationship? So you were on MTV, and it was like 3 years, 3 seasons, and it was getting really big, bigger than you thought it was.
I didn't. I honestly didn't expect it to be as big. That's what it was. I thought I'm going to do one episode or one series, whatever, and that'll be it. We did it, and then I remember going to Newquay for some skate thing, whatever. And we were queuing outside a club for Sailors Club in Newquay. Fuck. Next thing, whoa, Sanchez, the fucking whole crowd waiting in the queue. Fucking realised it was us. I was like, shit. Whoa, what the fuck? What the fuck's happening? And that's when it hit me. I thought, everyone knows about this stuff, and then it just got fucking crazy. It just got bonkers.
Did you?
God, what a laugh, man!
It was fun.
Fun.
Did you get a lot of people that wanted to be friends with you because you were famous, and did you have to stay away from some of those people?
Me being naive, I took a lot of people in which I shouldn't have. Looking back now I'm older, there was a lot of hangers on.
Okay.
And I let them in with open arms.
And what happened?
I mean, a lot of people did see it, but they didn't say anything, or maybe they did, and I said, oh, no, they're all right. But then now the show's gone and the fame is gone. Those people are nowhere to be seen. But those friends that I had before are still there now.
Right.
So they could see the fame, and all they wanted was the guest list for the parties, the jumping on the bandwagon. And I suppose that's just what comes with... fame, unless you're clever and time to fuck off.
Right.
But, that's not me. I'm too nice. So.
Do they take something from you, the hangers-on, like in that process? Or is it just kind of like, I thought they were my friends and they weren't?
I tried not to... I know myself who the people are, but then why should I have to let it bother my life? It does piss me off thinking of it. That people would actually do such a thing. But, it's just holding the grudge, innit? It's just going to break you down, take away your positivity, give you a negative outlook on life. So
it's interesting.
It's what happened, and I'd like to think I've learned from it. So if it was ever to happen again, I know exactly what to do.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a learning curve, I suppose.
It's something the UFC, the huge, cage fighting organization, the president, Dana White, always says when these fighters, they get their world title, he said, it's the Klingons. That's what he calls them, the Klingons. And it's like all these new buddies and new friends and the new agents. And the guy's like, I know what to do with your career. Let me tell you how to use your money. Stay away from that guy. Get away from your friends.
All they can see is pump coins.
Coins or access or fame. Or I'm sure with you, it was just hanging out with famous people too.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I guess that's just it's funny how if you see that the movie Entourage and the show Entourage, like there's a lot of famous people hang out with their high school buddies, right, and the guys they knew before they were famous because they feel comfortable that they're real, right?
Yeah. But my proper friends, they didn't want to hang out with me and do all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And now looking back at it, I realise why. Because they know I think they could most probably see me go, and I know a few of them did. They could see me going down the wrong path because I fucking swallowed it all up.
Right.
He was there. I was like, yeah, fucking,
Wrong path.
I'm gonna
What?
fucking do this, and I
Okay.
just like shoving everything down my neck.
So what?
But you know, I suppose secretly deep down in my